Hey everybody, time for another health life update video. It's the anniversary basically of when I was dying, and I know I made a health video recently, but I wanted to talk more about it, things that have been going on in life recently and plans in life and other things related to health. If you like the videos, like, sub, silly comment, share, support the channel if you can, if you want. I appreciate it, thanks. Doesn't hurt to like the video. I'll wait. Whatever. I mean, I don't control you. If you support the channel, though, obviously, I appreciate it. Thanks. And, honestly, again, anniversary of when I was dying. And even when you think when I first got sick, it was, the summer is when I realized that something was wrong. And a big point about this video is just I'm in a lot of pain and I'm not doing very good. And I mean, you can see it says Clayton. This is my health record, right? I mean, again, can't type anything in. I've been dealing with a lot of this stuff for a very, very long time. And, I'm in a lot of pain and I'm not doing very good, to be honest with you. And one of the things that has gotten harder as I've gotten older is it's gotten harder to, get through the pain. And when I get sick, I'm always sick, but when I say, the cluster headaches and everything like this, I get, chronic migraines and cluster headaches. It just takes so long to recover from that kind of stuff. And if you don't know what cluster headaches are, I've made multiple videos about it throughout the years. You can, look at it if you want, I mean, you could see that, cluster headache is probably the worst pain that humans experience. I know that's quite a strong remark to make, but if you ask a cluster headache patient that if they've had a worst experience, they'll universally say they haven't. Women with cluster headaches will tell you that an attack is worse than giving birth. So you can imagine that these people give birth without anesthetic once or twice a day for 6 or 8 or 10 weeks at a time and then have a break. It's just awful. And, I've always compared it to, it's like someone could kill you if they wanted to, right? Because you can't defend yourself. And I was thinking about this recently because, another way I could describe it too, and of course, it fucks you up. Like, I mean, you can see, I'll turn this on for a second. You can see like it makes you droopy, and even that picture at the bottom left, I have like more permanent wrinkles on the left side of my face, right? And it takes longer and longer for my eye to go like back to normal. And it just kind of purposely, it kind of like perpetually just droops a little bit more, especially as I get older. And it takes so long to recover. And, another way to describe the pain is I was making I made that recent FGC on NBC video, right? And I'm sure I have in some video, but I had to like take a break when I was making that video because my mouth was hurting so bad. So another way to explain just how painful it is, and you can look at this, imagine, and I get really bad cluster headaches. Remember when I first got sick, they just thought that I had like super severe migraines. But then they later changed it to chronic migraines with cluster headaches. And, they even used me in medical presentations for it, all that kind of stuff, which unfortunately you don't get paid for. At least I never have. If you get paid to do a medical presentation, let me know how you did it, because they don't give me any money when I've done it. But one of the things, another way to describe it is you're in so much pain that a lot of times I'll like start clenching my teeth, right? And something that kind of sucks, this sounds kind of like a vein kind of thing, but there was at one time, my teeth aren't that bad right now, but there was a time when people, He used to tell me like, whoa, you have a really, really nice smile. Like you have like a perfect like crest smile kind of thing, right? Not as much anymore. And one of the things is when I go through these periods of really bad cluster headaches or severe migraines, I'll start to like clench my teeth. And again, I don't know if I've ever said this in a video. I've made so many videos I might have. I have actually, and this is going to sound crazy, just shows how much pain you're in. Like I said, it's like someone could kill you. I've actually cracked a couple of my teeth before from being in so much pain because you start grinding your teeth. You're just writhing in pain, and then you'll start like clenching your teeth more at night, and I've actually cracked a couple of teeth before, and that, to the point that I needed to have a couple of root canals, which I don't remember if I've ever talked about that on my channel before, but that's another thing. Not just that, it's like somebody could kill you. I've actually cracked some of my teeth to the point that while I was in so much pain that I had to have a couple of root canals, which sadly my insurance doesn't totally cover. And I was thinking about that recently because, I had a very bad period of cluster headaches last year. And then recently, knock on wood, hopefully it doesn't continue, but I've been getting, more cluster headaches and the pain has been coming back more fierce. And so I'm like starting to clench my teeth and like grind them more, because you're in so much pain. And it's like my teeth are hurting. And it sounds stupid, but like, imagine you're in so much pain from something that, and people grind their teeth, it's not like I'm the only person that's ever done that, but like I've grinded my teeth and clenched so hard before, I've cracked a couple of teeth, dude. And I was just thinking about that, making that FGC on NBC video recently. And even today, it's actually my teeth are hurting. I'm like, my God, dude, my teeth are fucking hurting. I'm just in so much pain all the time, dude. I mean, I've showed my health record. It really, oh boy, I was about to cry for a second. Don't need me to start crying on YouTube, but I'm in a lot of fucking pain. A lot, dude. And you can see me starting to cry. I'm in a lot of fucking pain, dude. For a long time, man. You can see I'm hurting, dude. I'm in a lot of pain all the time, dude. Like, I should have been dead a long time ago. And it's hard to keep myself in shape. And it's getting harder and harder as I get older. I'm in a lot of pain all the time, dude. Like, it's just people, because I keep myself very healthy, right? And people have no idea how painful it is to experience what it's like to be dying before. And when you're dying, man, it's just, like I said, you start to become delusional. You're just in so much pain. And, I said, again, it's kind of the anniversary of when I was dying, and just pain to the point that you start becoming delusional. And then you pass out from the pain, but then you wake up from the pain, and it's just over and over. And it's just you don't want to die. Dying is very painful. And, unfortunately for me, I'm not one of those people that, even you can see, you know, I've showed my health record and even go over the blood tests and, I'm not quotation marks lucky enough that after I did radiation and all that kind of stuff, obviously all this stuff, it permanently fucked up my body, you know. I mean, you can see my health record. It's not like a normal person, and this is stuff that I've been like dealing with for like 20 plus years. I'm just in so much fucking pain, dude. And I don't recover the same. I had I think you could see a video maybe it was about a week ago or something. You could see it because when you look at the pictures, you can see I start to droop and everything like that. And I think you could see in that one video, I was starting to get like really red and everything like that. And man, even though that wasn't like a real bad one, I was out of it for days. I remember I went for a walk that weekend and I was out for a few hours, and I probably out for a few hours going for a walk, I probably had to take like 7 or 8 breaks. I just don't recover from everything. It's just, that's one of the harder things about getting older. I've said that before, that, constant pain, but once you start to get worse and worse and start to get the cluster headaches, it's like, even if it's a small one, dude, my brain like is not working for like days after, right? And I'm already more stupid as I get older, right? But it's hard being sick for so long, dude. And it's taken a lot out of me. But I mean, I already made the health video though recently talking about it, just like it barely, I bought some stuff to even help me work out because I just can barely, my hands are so weak at this point, dude. I bought like straps to even, that's a bad sign too, because, when I work out, I do mostly body weight stuff. So if I can't even do chin-ups, I bought straps to even like help me do stuff at this point, I'm just so weak. I don't want to have more surgery, they're talking about do more nerve shots in my neck, so it goes down my arm, dislocated nerves, I'm fucked up, dude. It hurts. It's very fucking painful. I've been thinking about maybe trying the Botox or something like that, because I'm like, oh my God, my teeth are like hurting so bad, like, dude, from being in so much pain and like clenching my teeth and just, oh God, I'm just like, I've thought about doing the Botox before and, excuse me, but I'm always worried that I'm gonna be one of those people that gets the Botox and, excuse me, but that I actually get more droopy or some shit like that. Like, I don't want to do that, right? But I'm in so much pain all the time, dude. Even a not bad day is just so painful, dude, all the time. But God, I'm supposed to talk about other stuff, but well, I guess I could talk about it in 2 videos, but I've been thinking about, because it's very hard to, and there was a guy that helped pay for my insurance even recently, but he wanted to be anonymous, but it's very expensive keeping myself, alive with all this health stuff too, right? And, it's funny, I was thinking, God, what am I going to do with my life, dude, right? Things are just so expensive here. And I was thinking, I was actually thinking, maybe I should try to see if I could, quotation marks, live in Japan. And I was thinking, because, Jesus Christ, you can live in a shithole in Japan and be okay, you know. And I was thinking that, well, how would I finagle that, right? And so I was looking at, maybe I could try to get a student visa, right? And, because living in Japan would basically be, I'm not going to be losing money living in Japan. Well, I guess you'd have, but it's not like living in a shithole in Japan, it's safe, right? And, and I always say that, and people are like, well, how would you have money to go to Japan? Well, I do the credit card stuff, right? So, I mean, I have tons of credit card miles for trips and all that kind of stuff. But, I was thinking, well, could I try to do a student visa? I mean, basically be the same amount as living here, but I'm like, how would I do, you know, the doctor stuff? So I even, I went to, what was I talking about, like Gaijin Pot and all these other sites and looking up schools and stuff like that. And I saw that they were like, oh, we actually allow people with disabilities to go to school, because not like when I was going to school and I was dying. They're like, oh, we would never approve somebody with disability to go to Japan. But I read and they were saying now we do. But then it's kind of funny because then I actually started talking to them, and they're like, oh, you're like sick. They're like, whoa, they're like, I don't think they'll let you do it. And they're like, I don't think Japan they will not approve you for like health insurance there with your health record. And talking to, what would you call it, the go-betweens or something like that, or the counselors, whatever. And they're like, gee, and it sounds like bad. They're even like, you know what, in your situation, they're like, it would almost be better to just lie and tell the school or go to Japan at first and tell them you're not sick. And I'm like, well, I can't say I'm not sick, right? You know what I mean? And they're like, I just don't think they're going to let you do it. They're like, they're not going to approve you for insurance with your health record. The school's not going to actually approve you as somebody with your kind of health record. They're like, yeah, they say people with disabilities, but they're not like people that were like dying like you with permanent side effects that go to the hospital all the time, right? So, I mean, that's just crazy. So they're like, well, what you could do, and then I guess probably didn't know that. I have been to Japan, so obviously I know this. They're like, well, what you could do is maybe you could try to scam. They didn't say scam the system, but they're like, well, since they won't approve you for a student visa, they're like, I doubt it. They would ever. They're like, you could just come to school on a tourist visa and then just try to keep sneaking out and coming back in. They even told me to do that. And I'm like, and they're like, well, we have heard people that do that, right? And you could try that. It's not a guarantee. And I'm like, thank you. I know people do that, but I'm not trying to actually scam the system like that. But I mean, that just goes to show I don't know what I'm going to do. But I was actually thinking maybe I should try to just get a student visa and just stay in Japan for a while, right? And I thought maybe it might be a good experience, But even they were like, oh, geez. I mean, when the counselors and the in-betweens are telling you that are kind of like, yeah, you could try to scam the system or just lie and say that you're not sick when you apply for the visa. And don't tell the school you're actually as sick as you are. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my God. So I don't know, but I've thought about, as like at that point, why would I actually go to the school? I don't know, but part of me is thinking, maybe a good experience, even if I don't go to the class all the time. And, I'm just losing so much money here anyway. Just live in a cheap place in Japan for a little bit, So I've been thinking about maybe go to Japan, do a little bit of 10-week school course just for something to do. And then maybe just stay another month or two afterwards. So, maybe stay for 4 months or so or something like that. But I'd have to see just a longer stay, something to do. What am I doing in America anyway? And it's just so expensive here anyway. But I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm bleeding money here. It's just so expensive to live in America. And maybe just a change of pace instead of just going to Japan for like a month and then coming back. Again, it's not like I don't have the plane ticket. I have all the like I said, the plane ticket stuff is not the problem, right? I got all the credit card miles, right? But it's just that, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life, right? I'm bleeding money here. Things are so expensive here. But then they even said, oh, we don't think Japan's not going to give you insurance, right? So then what are you going to do, right? I mean, I don't know, man. Anyway, I don't know. Kind of got distracted since I started crying a little bit, I guess. I don't think I've cried on YouTube in a long, long time, but I'm in a lot of pain, dude. I should have been dead a long time ago, and I'm hurting, dude. What else is there to say? My body is going on me, dude. I'm doing my best to fake it, but it's very hard. Remember, if you like the videos, like, sub, the comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. The end.